Any spare tickets to space?
No.
No. Fine.
No.
We're not going. So.
We're not going to space.
So wait, but she didn't do an introduction, so I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm Bill Prady, and this is Steven Molaro. Well, or Steven Molaro.
On the TV screen, it's Steven. Here it's Steve. Whatever.
That's how many comedies stuff.
So how have you guys enjoyed the panel and the feedback from the audience today?
This is one of our favorite things, Comic-Con. We look forward to it every year. It's become this fourth or fifth time. And it's sort of this little little tent pole on our calendar. And we see the cast for the first time. They've been on a break, so we haven't seen them. The writers start working before the actors show up. And we meet amazing fans.
As a writer on the show, you tend to work in this bubble, and we're only with each other, and you don't often interact with actual humans who watch the show. So it's a real treat and I haven't had a chance to talk to too many people yet, but generally at Comic-Con is where you can hear people say, my family and I watch the show, or I watch the show with my son, or we love this, or this character resonates with us, and it's the type of feedback that day to day we don't normally get. It's normally day to day, it's me staring at Bill, and it's nice to, not that he's not beautiful, I mean, look at that face, look at a supermodel, really. But it's really nice to get that human interaction, which we, as writers, we don't always get. They don't know who we are. We don't walk down the street and get recognized. We love it here.
So, give us something about the new season. What
we started we get to pick up some stories that we left season 5 with. We start the season with Wallowitz still in space on the International Space Station. So I think we're the only sitcom where the scripts have slug lines, interior ISS.
Now, does Howard escape his mother's voice in space?
I think Howard will find out that even though he made it 200 miles directly above the Earth, things may not be all that different.
So how far into writing the new season are you?
We just figured out what episode 4 will be.
Since Wallowitz has that overbearing parental figure in his mother, and now he has this father-in-law that he has to deal with, are we going to be visiting more of his in-laws and how his relationship with them will awkwardly develop?
Here's the thing, which is when good relationships pop up, and I love the relationship between Howard and his father-in-law. That's a very uncomfortable relationship, and I don't know if you have in-law experiences where you say, this is somebody who I'm now going to see all the time until one of us is dead.
I do have that experience.
Okay, well, there you go. And that could be a positive thing, or in this case, it's a very uncomfortable thing. So while there are no particular plans for it at the moment, that scene with him was really fun to write. And when something's really fun to write, you go back to it because you say let's do that where the guy who really doesn't like the guy who married his daughter talks to him.
Right.
It says, "Don't worry, she'll find another guy."
Yeah, my first father-in-law, when I met him for the first time, said, "I have a shotgun, a shovel, and 200 acres of land. If you hurt my daughter, you will meet all of those." And I'm like,
well, that's pretty much.
And then so when he's like, "Don't worry, she'll find," I immediately flashed back to that moment. I was like, "Oh yeah,
that was a good
there."
moment.
Yeah, so it was great.
So at the end of the season, we saw that small evolution between Amy and Sheldon. Where's that going? Apparently all the cast, big favorite scene, they said that on the screen.
I can't watch it without tearing up. I don't know, they have a weird, whatever it is they have, a relationship, and she clearly wants to move him forward. He clearly does not want to get there, and I think my favorite thing about that is now, for Sheldon and Amy, we have the opportunity to explore every facet of an ordinary relationship through the eyes of these two people that have never really had one. That's a special place for us to be writing the show.
There's the Zen koan, which says what happens when an irresistible force meets an immovable object. I think that they're pretty close to that. Amy is an irresistible force, and Sheldon is an immovable object. And as a result,
but it's so great. I mean, I love that 2 years in the making that someone holding someone's hand could be resonate so much. All he did was hold her hand after 2 years, and we were all crying. And that's incredible. Where else can you do that? It's amazing. I love it.
I love that you guys over the last 5 years have almost added a second female cast. I mean, almost the entire second female cast to the show.
We just, as we find characters that we like, they become part of the family.
Yeah, I love it.
And it was a new. I think having sort of the girl clique was a new and great way for us to involve Penny in new and different ways. She's had this relationship with the guys, but now she's friends with Sheldon's mother and Lawrence's wife, and it's new and better ways to keep her in every story.
And not friends with Roger's sister.
That's right.
How do you incorporate the scientific part into your writing? Do you kind of decide maybe we should go in this direction and then consult people that do the fancy math and say what would be funny about this?
No, we have Dr. David Salzberg, who's an astrophysicist at UCLA. We're the only sitcom that employs an astrophysicist. Depending on how involved the science is in the story, we might consult with him during the story-breaking process if it's integral to the plot. Sometimes if you just want to have them talk about their day at work and it's just a generic line, I had a good day and a bad day, we'll actually write science to come in the script and he'll fill it in for us. And we'll try to give them a flavor of what we're looking for. Sometimes we'll know the science every now and then through the magic of a couple of our writers who are very smart and Google. And Wikipedia and Google.
I'm not one of those writers.
Sometimes every now and then we've actually gotten things right. And, that's correct. You had that right.
There was a rerun where Sheldon and Raj had to work together and they were arguing over an equation.
Yes.
When you write something like that, you say, I want them to argue about work, and then say, what in the world would these two argue about?
That very specific example, which was done uniquely, it was so complicated, we had to bring David into the room and sit there and work the lines with us because we wanted it to have a certain comedic rhythm and we needed the facts, and we kept saying, good, now say that in a longer way, now say that in a shorter way, now say that in an angrier way. And remember we did that scene when David sat with us on that. So that is so far the only time we've done that, but on that argument, which was difficult to do.
Well, it looks great on the screen, so.
Oh, good. Susan says we have to go. We've had the best time at table number 2.
Nice meeting you guys.